Hi guys, welcome back to Around the Campfire with AmeriCamp. Today we have the wonderful Holly on with us to chat about her time at camp and her sort of top tips and tricks for your summer at camp. So Holly, do you want to start off by introducing yourself and letting us know which camp you went to?
Hi, I'm Holly, as Eloise just said, and I went to Tyler Hill Camp and I was a specialist in digital photography and broadcasting.
Amazing, very cool. And so how was your summer? What was sort of your favourite part?
For me, I've always wanted to kind of do a bit of travelling, and I was in my second year of uni, just ended the summer, and I was like, I don't want to move back to my home, I want to do something. So I went out, and my favourite part of the summer had to be like the 4th of July, the big events like Lads Bowl, the invitationals, like anything where the camp just fully got together. We were out in the sun enjoying our times. We were watching Harry do flips around like the gymnasium and stuff like that. It was amazing, because otherwise I was pretty much sat in a room or like walking the kids around camp doing photos. So it was nice to get like a big all camp time.
Yeah, definitely. That's sort of like the most magical parts of camp, I think, is when like everybody sort of all gathers together. You get that like real sense of community because everyone's like celebrating something as like one big team. So yeah, that sounds absolutely amazing. And obviously Tyler Hill's like a really big camp as well, so it must have been loads and loads of people all together celebrating, which I can imagine was really, really cool.
Because I was a specialist as well, it was like my time to do something with my kids that wasn't like out, you know, like the evening activity or like getting them ready for a shower or something like that. Like I didn't spend time with my kids during the day unless it came to my elective, so it was really nice to like see them for like the full day and get to spend time with them.
Yeah, definitely. You do definitely get like really attached to like your specific groups of kids as well. So yeah, like any opportunity to spend more time with them is like always a bonus. Everybody's kind of at the point now where they are kind of like running up to going to camp. It's starting to creep up on everyone really
So excited.
Yeah, it's that like final countdown now, isn't it? But yeah, sort of what
that
were
song just started playing in my head.
Yeah, absolutely it is 100%. That's just like the vibe for the next like few months. It is just counting down to camp, crossing off those days on the calendar like it's nearly here. But yeah, sort of what were your expectations of camp before you went? Did it sort of live up to those expectations? Was there anything you were surprised by at all?
I think when I talked to a lot of returners or like people that have been before to even different camps, not just Tyler Hill, everyone said it'll be the most amazing summer, but you will also be working the hardest job you've ever worked, and that definitely stands true. Like, I have never been so exhausted in my life, but let me tell you, the camp sleeps, there's something that you will never, ever get over. How easy it is to sleep at camp. You would think living in a dorm full of, like, 12 girls, it'd make it hard. But as soon as my head hit that pillow, I was gone. And then it'd wake up at 7, I'd be like, and I'm back. But it was amazing. I just think the expectations of camp, I knew it was going to be loud, I knew it was going to be fun, I knew it was going to be hectic, and it definitely lived up to it, but in the best way. And nowhere else will you break out into dance and everyone know the choreography and everyone know the lyrics. Like, even when we went out on like a night off, we would be doing the timber dance in the bar that we got taken to.
Obviously.
All together. And it's like, when would you ever see that in a bar? Like, it's like Footloose in person.
Yeah, 100%. No, I definitely like do really agree with that. Like, I think a lot of people don't necessarily realise like how much hard work it is. Like, honestly, I've never slept as well as I did at camp, like, ever. And I'm always like bad at sleeping. Like, I get into bed and I can be awake for hours, but the second your head hits that pillow, you're out for like 8-10 hours.
You spend about an hour getting the kids like wind down, and then you're wound down as well, because I'm like giving the girls these chills and they're falling asleep and we're sat in the dark, and I'm like, by the time I've got to bed, I've basically been half asleep the whole time.
To be fair, I had days where I was ready to go back to bed from the minute I woke up. So yeah,
definitely.
It's sort of all of the extra stuff outside of work as well. Like, you are constantly, even like in terms of how far you walk in a day. Like, I didn't necessarily like realize how much I would be like walking around on my feet. It's such like an active job. But I came back and I was so fit. Like, my fitness levels were like literally through the roof.
Well, I actually injured myself in the first week of camp after orientation. So the week the kids arrived, I was doing the Rather Be dance, which is like a big camp dance, and went down on my ankle really, really bad. I got like body lifted out of the hall that we were in and put in a golf cart, taken down to like the health centre. I was being golf carted around the whole time I was at camp for like a week, because I couldn't get anywhere. The crutches in America are also awful.
Yeah, they have the weird ones, don't they? Yeah.
Oh my God. No, it hurt me so much. And then like I would be crawling up the porch steps or being pushed up into my bed on a night time. It was humbling, but it definitely made me realise just how active camp was, because I was trying to get around on like crutches and stuff, and I'd been moved around a lot, but it means that I was just being challenged. But then my kids loved making fun of it a bit later on when we were playing Panic, and they like did like this whole impression of me, because there was one girl that looked a lot like me, she had the same hair colour and everything, and then they wrapped her like foot up in something, and she used like lacrosse sticks as her like crutches. I was like, this is brilliant.
That's the thing, like anything that happens to you at camp, best believe in like a week or two, it's going to be a running joke. Like everything becomes 100%. A running joke eventually.
100%.
It's good. It's a good way to like learn to laugh at yourself, even when like really unfortunate stuff like that happens. The kids
but
definitely
it just shows
make
that you
see
can
the
do
funny
it.
side. Oh, 100%. Yeah, definitely. That's like crazy. And also like very unfortunate timing. That was like the first week of camp.
100%.
But you survived, which is what we like to hear.
It could have been worse. It could have been colour war. If it had been colour war, I would have been upset. But I am proof to anyone that if you hurt yourself at camp, it's not going to stop you. It might slow you down a bit, but it's not going to stop you.
It sounds like you had a very eventful summer. But sort of like winding it back a little bit, sort of the process of like getting hired at Tyler Hill, what was that like for you?
So I knew from day dot when I signed up for camp that Tyler Hill was the place for me. I'd done so much research before I even signed up. I knew from like August the year before that I wanted to do it, so I did a lot of research. I was watching my camp on social media before they even like open applications for like counsellors. So I went into my pre-screen interview, and I was like, just personally, I was just so myself. I was like bubbly, went in how I normally would talk to people. I remember I said hi to someone that passed in the background of the screen, because I was like, I'm going to say hi to everyone I can. I was definitely scared to do my interviews, because I direct applied to Tyler Hill because I knew I wanted to be there. So I didn't do the pool or the camp fairs or anything like that. I just was so like set on it, and I'd done quite a bit of research, so I must have blown them away, because I ended up getting hired after my third interview. So I went through 3, but like Wendy, the director, she absolutely loved me and was like, and we want you. And I was like, cool. And they also created the role that I did. So digital photography was a thing, but broadcasting wasn't. And obviously I do journalism at university, so I wanted to bring part of my like ambition into camp. And I thought like I'd go around and I'd get the kids to present and like ask questions to their fellow campers on like the camera and stuff. It was so cool.
That's so cool, because it's like a win-win for you, because obviously it means that you're going out there and you're actually doing something that you love, but then also on the flip side it's like more experience doing what you love to then like bring back for like, you know, like the rest of uni, going and looking for jobs. So it is like a massive win-win, and very cool that they sort of like created that role for you and sort of like tweaked that role around you as well. That is like so cool to hear. But yeah, I definitely understand that sort of like nervousness going into those interviews. It can be like very, very daunting, but I think you made like such a good point of just like be yourself, like just act the way that you would act if you like bumped into them on the street, because yeah, every camp has like their own personality. Like I can kind of see it like chatting to all of you guys from like Tyler Hill. I can like sort of get a vibe of like the camp's personality and like what sort of person they look for. So yeah, sort of being yourself is such like a great piece of advice. Definitely like 100% agree with that. And obviously really cool that you had your heart set on it. You went for it. You went to Tyler Hill. You had the best summer. You're counting down to go back again. It sort of all worked out really, really well for you, which is amazing to hear.
I definitely think as well we need to remind people that like the interview, yes, it's for you, but you're also interviewing the camp. Like I asked so many questions to Tyler Hill, because I was like, I already had done a lot of research, but I said if they can't answer these questions and they fit right with how I feel in myself, then why would I want to go to a camp that probably isn't the right fit?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's like even more important. Like obviously you've done a lot of research already. You like kind of knew that Tyler Hill was the camp for you, but especially for people that sort of do get hired at the camp fair or like through the online sort of hiring system, asking those questions is like so important. I definitely like got very much stuck into like, oh well, I've answered all of my questions now, and like that's fine, and I've just done my bit and I don't need to ask them anything back. But yeah, I think that's really good advice to sort of like interview the camp as well, because at the end of the day you want to love it. You want to be somewhere that like lines up with what you're looking for, what you care about, what your values are. So yeah, I think that's like really, really great advice as well. So yeah, sort of going back onto the topic of Tyler Hill, obviously we have chatted a little bit about Tyler Hill traditions in previous episodes, but what was your favourite camp tradition?
For me, obviously we had like Starfish Friday, which you probably heard about because we've got quite a lot of Tyler Hill people in the AmeriCamp team. But I loved just like the fact that we would get together weekly and we would always do the Rather Be dance. Like the dancing bit was like my favourite bit of all time. I don't know why, it just really like lined up with how like energetic I was feeling. And also like seeing boys' side all together, like they would come down and then we'd do family time, which was really cute to see and watch all the kids like run around. But also family time was the perfect time for us counsellors to be able to talk to each other, because like boys' side and girls' side, we don't get to speak to each other unless we're like on days off, nights off, or they come to the electives. So like then family times was the time where we got to watch the kids, but we'd also be able to just kind of talk to each other and have a bit of like adult chats.
Yeah, that's really, really nice. I definitely did get that sometimes at camp. Like you spend so long with the kids, it's like I just want to chat to somebody my own age. So those are definitely like really, really valuable. Like you said earlier, just those moments where like camp come all together are just like really, really special. Like very much pinch me moments when you're like watching all the kids run around together and you're like, is this real? Like, am I really watching this happen? This is crazy.
And I forget that some of them had siblings on camp as well, so then you would see them running around with their brothers and you'd be like, this is so cute, because obviously they become you end up essentially become like a sister or a mother to them, so you forget that like they do actually have some other family there and you don't need to be around with them all the time.
You're not actually their big sister, even though you definitely feel like it by the end of camp. But sort of moving on to sort of your travel after camp, did you go travelling after camp?
I really wanted to, but it didn't end up working out for me. But I did do New York pre-camp, I couldn't figure out the word then. So I went to New York pre-camp with a lot of the other counsellors. So we all kind of met up on Facebook and then we did like calls like weekly, like coming up to when we went to camp. So we'd known each other from like January onwards. And then we all booked New York together, went like 5 days before, stayed in a hotel, did like all the sightseeing. And then we went to camp all together and then we were like a massive like in hall in like Port Authority and you could just see us all stood around. Post camp I went to New York by myself for 4 days, which was quite a big thing. I'd never really done any kind of solo travelling. As I said, I flew out with some of the counsellors, so it didn't feel like I'd really done it that solo, whereas I was flying back to the UK by myself and I was doing New York by myself and I stayed in a hostel, which was also a very interesting experience. It was like one of the pod ones, you know, like where you're laying in like a capsule bed. But I really, really loved it. It was nice to know that I could do something solo. Like I could be in New York by myself. I went to see Wicked. Like I did all the sites that I wanted to see. Did a bit of shopping because obviously I had my camp money that I thought was going to go to travelling but didn't. So I was like, right, let's get some New York shopping down. So I definitely made it work for me. And I don't regret not going travelling. I wasn't 21 at the time, so it would have been a little bit harder for me to travel anyway.
And I think that's really nice as well that you actually, because obviously a lot of people kind of do it the other way around. Like if they want to do anything solo, they'll like maybe go a couple of days before and have that time by themselves, and then after camp is when you're sort of like traveling as a big group. So it's really interesting that you did it the other way around. And I definitely think like solo traveling after camp, like that's probably the best time to do it because you've got that confidence. Like I don't know about you, but like after I like finished camp and I left, I literally felt like I was on top of the world. Like I felt like I could literally do anything because it like ups your confidence so much. Like you get such a sense of achievement. So that is probably the best time to actually be like, do you know what, yeah, I'm gonna go traveling by myself just because like I can.
I also just remember the feeling of like, this is the real world. Like we're not in the camp bubble. Like there's human beings.
Yeah.
And like New York is quite overwhelming anyways. And then you've been trapped in this camp bubble with just the same set of people, and they're like, it's like rural, would you say? Like Pennsylvania. Then I ended up back in the city and I was like, okay, this is like busy. But I also loved it because I'm such a city person that I was like, oh, humans, like I get to people watch.
Real
like,
people.
Yeah. Like as much as I love my kids and stuff like that, like being around other people going about their day-to-days, like I saw someone doing like a TV report, which was like, I was obsessed with because I was a journalism student. So I was like, oh my, this is it. Because I hadn't taken any news in at all while I was at camp, which was also nice to like decompress the brain.
Yeah, it is nice to like come back to the real world a little bit. Like camp is so cool, it's like the coolest place ever, but you do need to take like at least a few days to like get used to like being outside again, like being in the real world
100%.
again. But yeah, that sounds so cool, and obviously really nice that you had like a really good amount of time to explore New York. Are you planning on going traveling this year, or are you sort of going to do like a similar thing, just a couple days here and there?
As far as this, I'm counting down for next year, just because I'm graduating university, so I can't go back to camp this summer. But if I go back, when I go back, I really want to go back. I want to do like traveling like Nashville. These are all the things I've wanted to do last year, but obviously with the age thing and like my family needed me back in the UK, so I just kind of travelled back. But like I want to do Nashville, I want to do Florida, I want to do New Orleans. Like these are all the places I think are so cool and I want to do. I just didn't get to do last time.
Yeah, oh, that's so cool. It's really nice when you've got like that like bucket list and you know you're gonna like slowly be able to like tick your way through it, and as well you've already got like a little bit of a plan to start convincing people when you are back at camp and be like, well actually I've got this on my list, you should come with me. I was very much the other way around. Like I was like, I don't know where I want to go, I don't know what I want to do, I'm just kind of gonna go with the flow, like find someone, follow them and like see what happens.
You can't not want to go to Nashville after you've been at camp and you've had country music in your ears every day
100%
for 3 months.
Yeah, you get the real bug for it. So yeah, that sounds really, really cool. You got some fun bucket list places, and as well I think like the great thing about the travel period is you can do that bucket list stuff. Like you said, like you were out in rural Pennsylvania, my camp was out in rural Pennsylvania as well. Like it's not, you know, necessarily like number one, I've been dying to go to rural Pennsylvania for my entire life, but it is nice that you get that opportunity to sort of do the touristy stuff, and then you also have that like really authentic experience of like being near a small town, being out in the middle of nowhere, like the proper experience of like living in the US.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like being in Pennsylvania, we were in the middle of nowhere. We went in Hornsdale and like it had basically nothing in it. But, like, we got taken to Skinner's Falls, which was, like, a big river with a bunch of rocks where we all got to, like, tan and stuff. I wouldn't have gotten that if I was just travelling around the US because I would have been hitting cities. So, like, you don't get that experience where I would have got at camp without camp.
Yeah, 100%. I always say that to people on the phone because obviously, like, a lot of people have a specific state that they are, like, dead set on going to. We get a lot of people that are, like, I want to go over to the West Coast. I'm dying to go to the West Coast because, like, everybody hears all about how the West Coast is, like, lovely and sunny and there's loads of, like, tourist destinations. But, yeah, sort of having that opportunity to discover, like, a completely different part of the US you would have never otherwise gone to. You get so many, like, hidden gems. So, yeah, it's definitely, like, from my point of view, because I'm, like, really into traveling, it's so nice to sort of get both sides of the coin, get like the touristy stuff and the sort of like really authentic stuff as well. So sort of the next question, obviously, like I said, we're sort of coming up to people going out to camp very soon. There are probably a lot of people who are apart from I'm really jealous, what else would you say to somebody who is sort of coming up to going to camp this summer?
Just get excited about it. Like, I know you're going to feel the nerves about like the whole flying out to like America thing. Like, it seems really daunting. Once you get there, you're going to have the most incredible experience. So I don't want people to block themselves with the nerves, like trying to channel it into excitement. Talk to people at your camp if you can, if that's something we can do as possible. If there is Facebook, kind of like have a little chat. You don't need to become best friends because at the end of the day, that's what orientation's going to do for you and your bunks and stuff like that. But it's kind of nice to just know that when you're getting on that bus, someone's going to be there that you have spoken to before. But as I said, just channel it into excitement because you're going to have the most incredible summer, and don't leave everything to the last minute.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like that point about like not leaving everything to the last minute, 100% fantastic advice. I get like secondhand stress from like people that are like, yeah, I'm just gonna like book my flight like the day before I go out there. I'm like, what? I've always been like an over planner, so when I went to camp I tried to leave like some things, like not last minute, but like keeping like things really open for like travel period and stuff. But for the stuff that you need, like definitely great advice to like be organized, keep on top of it,
make sure all your paperwork's in a nice little neat folder
100%.
and you're able to access it easily when you're at the airport because you don't want to be faffing around in your bag.
Yeah, I got one of those like little like plastic like wallet things that has a little button that like clips it shut. And I just put like anything that got sent to me even if it didn't say anywhere that I needed it, even if it looked important, I either like put it in there or I printed it out and I put it in there. Definitely like...
I made copies of everything as well. So my dad
100%.
had everything when back in the UK. Like he had a copy of my passport in case anything happened.
Yeah.
Like everything was backed up in like 3 different ways, and I had the physical document in my hand.
100%. Yeah, photocopies are a really, really, really good one. It's something that I do like every time I go traveling. Is like any like visa documents that I have and my passport, I'll always like photocopy them, give like some to my parents at home, and then I'll like pick like a buddy who I'm going traveling with, and we'll like swap. So I'll like have theirs and they'll have mine, so that if anyone loses anything, there are copies and it's fine. So that is definitely very good, very sensible advice. I really really like that. But yeah, as well, obviously like channeling that nervousness, I think we like talk about it a lot, like especially this time of year, people do start to get quite nervous because it's quite daunting thinking about like going out to the US by yourself in like literally a matter of months. But
if you didn't feel nervous, something would be wrong.
100%. Like it's so normal to be nervous, like so normal. I think a lot of people like don't realize that literally everyone's nervous. Like that first day of camp, that first day of orientation, like
even
everyone's
returners
so nervous.
Well, because we found out, especially in ours, because we sat down and we would do there would be a first timer, a returner, and it'd be like, what are you nervous about as a first timer, what are you nervous about as a returner? And the returners were also really scared. They were like, what about if my kids don't remember me, what about if this happens? Like, it's gonna be nerve-wracking for them as well, even though they've already done it. Like, the whole process is scary. You're gone for 3 months in America. Like, it's not a small feat.
And that's the thing, I think it's so easy to like not put into context. Like you're doing something like absolutely huge, like you're doing something so crazy and out of your comfort zone. Like that's such a brave thing to do. And as well, sort of knowing that everyone else is nervous, that's when you're gonna like get your best support system. That's when you're gonna get, you know, the people around you really sort of like pushing you through it, because you push through it together. And that's also such like a big bonding thing as well, is that you've kind of gone through those first days all together, you've done the really difficult bit, and then you're flying for the rest of summer, to be honest.
Yeah, one of my best friends, she's from New Zealand, and I obviously met her at camp, and I was having a bit of a time. They put me in freshmen, and I didn't want to be with freshmen in orientation, and then I managed to swap, but I remember feeling so scared because I didn't feel like I was in the right age gap. I didn't feel like that was the right place for me, but Tui was like a massive support system for me, and like she would be like, you're fine, like you can do it. I only moved up like one age group, and I felt more like with my people, but like if she hadn't supported me, we wouldn't have such a solid friendship base. So you will find just like your friends for life here, and you will get like the most amazing support systems.
Yeah, having a friend in New Zealand, I bet that's sick. I bet you have had multiple offers to go and visit.
I'm like, if I head up to Australia in November, like I will be making a stop in New Zealand at some point.
Yeah. So cool. We love that. A free place to stay is always an extra bonus of those friends that you make at camp. So yeah, obviously that's sort of like all of the questions that I had for you. Was there anything else you wanted to add? Want to maybe promote your socials a little bit?
Yeah, you can kind of follow my TikTok if you want. It's Holly Isabel. I've kind of forgotten my TikTok name a second. And I just kind of post all the videos of my camp, kind of give it some advice, what to pack. If you can ask me questions on there, if you want to ask questions. You can also message me on Instagram, anything. I'm sure you can find me on things. I've posted a lot about AmeriCamp and camp in general. Type up Holly and camp, you'll probably come up. So yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions, happy to make your excitement even better, and hopefully I'll be heading back out to camp with you all next year.
Amazing, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me today. It's been really lovely having a chat and hearing about camp. And thank you guys for listening. We will be back soon with another new episode. But for now, start getting excited about camp.